Yes, dear viewers, welcome to Evrim Turgut's own channel. I'm on Deniz's channel, introducing it like this as a host.
Welcome, everyone.
We're quickly moving on to zodiac signs and skincare. Let's continue. This topic is interesting. Zodiac signs and skincare after all. Zodiac signs...
Nice. All zodiac signs and cleanliness.
Zodiac signs and cleanliness. That's very true. You're right, my friend. We had left off at Sagittarius and Capricorn. In this episode, we'll be discussing Sagittarius and Capricorn. We'll be covering two important zodiac signs. Yours is Capricorn. Capricorn.
Yes!
So now, let me start right away by briefly introducing them to you. I consider Sagittarius as the sign of well-intentioned people, and generally, in astrology literature, Sagittarius people are described as well-intentioned. Unfortunately, it's sometimes said that they burn the blanket for a single flea because they're so honest, so straightforward, and always tell the truth.
They think quickly.
They think quickly. For example, my sister, she's a wonderful person, God bless her, with a long life, but she absolutely has to tell the truth. That's just one of her traits. I tell her, sis, you can't always tell the truth everywhere, but even if it means risking an argument, she insists on telling the truth.
She just has to. That's why we're so troubled about getting fired. There's just no end to the problems, really.
Honestly, that's just how it is these days anyway. There's nothing left to do anymore. When we look at sedents, these are considered winter signs now. Sagittarius, Capricorn, Aquarius, and Pisces are, to some extent, winter signs. They may not always be the main character, but they still have a role. I always say Pisces can find all four seasons.
Yes, they absolutely do, indeed.
In the studies I've read, sometimes I also check foreign sources. I'm working on it, to see how they've approached skincare in relation to zodiac signs. Sagittarius, Capricorn, and Aquarius fall right in the middle of winter, and a good part of Pisces also falls right in the middle of winter. March is actually considered winter. Yes, March is still considered winter. These are skin types with a very high likelihood of dryness, so it means that the order of creation is so fascinating that the zodiac signs actually take on the characteristics of the month they fall into. Did you know they've written about it?
For example... And also, since they're the most stressed zodiac sign, it either affects their stomach or their skin.
Yes, you described this very well. The most stressed skin
Type. I see it a lot.
So, when we're talking about Sagittarius today, my request from you is, rather than asking why their skin gets so dry, could you tell us how they can cope with dry skin? Look, I know so many Sagittariuses.
Or let me put it this way, they're also known for being a bit of a tense sign. Because they're a tense sign, like I just said. Is it because they beat the drum the right way? Exactly. Of course, it's because they anger others and get into conflicts. Sometimes it affects their stomach, and stress hits their pocket.
It hits them too. They just can't help but provoke people, by the way.
For example, when I first meet people, I ask them their zodiac sign and act accordingly. Of course, that's how it is.
It really is like that. It's the same in work life too, isn't it? Zodiac signs help jobs.
Helps.
In our field, it helps us a lot. So being so prone to tension, especially to sudden bursts of anger. Actually, they don't do this intentionally.
They don't do it on purpose.
They do it involuntarily, and most of the time, they're actually right. They can't express what they want to say to the other person. So then they try to stand up for themselves. And because they're standing up for themselves, a round begins. It's about stubbornness too, because it's a stubborn sign.
But the nice thing is, for example, whether they're right or not in that moment, once it's over, they just let it go. They get over it as quickly as possible. For example, that's not the case with the boy. The boy holds grudges. But with Sagittarius, that's not the case. That's why it's one of our sweetest signs.
One of them. So then, does that mean this tension? Or maybe I should ask the question this way. Do tension, stress, and depression show up on the skin? How do they show up?
To be honest, some may agree, some may not. This is usually something our newer specialists, those who focus on the stomach or gastronomy, might say, but people whose stomach structure is disrupted or whose gut flora is disturbed, well, what we call depression or the state of becoming depressed happens to them. And that also shows up on their skin. With the people who come to me, unless I get them to regulate what they eat, which applies to all of us, not just within these 12 zodiac signs.
I remember, if I recall correctly, in previous episodes as well.
I especially emphasize this point, because no matter how you look at it, I've been in this industry for over 15 years. I've always regulated my own skin and my diet. When my diet got off track, insomnia started. When insomnia starts, depression follows. After that, it affects the skin, the under eye area, the face, and you experience dullness. But of course, when this process of taking care of yourself starts from within, it naturally reflects outward. You become radiant. You don't get puffiness under your eyes. Your skin starts to glow. Even something as simple as drinking water. I'm talking about drinking water, even if you just drink water properly. For example, one of my clients who came in today said, "I drink water." Believe me, her skin is so much different from last year. I touch her skin and it's moist. I use her as an example.
You mentioned drinking water. But for example, I'm also against that, right? Forcing people to drink exactly 1 liter. This
should depend on a person's height and weight. In other words, they should drink as much as possible, but not less than 2 liters. In the winter, we used to never drink water. It was limited to just 1 glass.
There are people like that, but this is an important detail. So if you want your skin to look good, you shouldn't go below 2 liters.
It really shouldn't go below that. And one of the most important things is that winter has started. We've started showering and washing with hot water. One of the things that affects the structure of the skin the most is washing with hot water. I always use that as an example. Even if you use the world's best brands, if you damage the basics, it doesn't mean anything. The products themselves become meaningless too.
You talked a lot about our other series as well. In fact, I'm thinking of publishing your warning about not washing with hot or extremely hot water by translating it into English and maybe Arabic. When we look into it, does hot water really break something down? Does it break the bonds?
Let me put it this way. When we were kids in the 90s, you usually couldn't adjust the water temperature. Our mothers always washed us with hot water. All those kids grew up, and now our own children are washed with hot water too.
They were washed with hot water, 0 or something like that. Right now,
you can adjust it, but back then it couldn't be adjusted that well. Let me put it this way. I always use the foundation of a house as an example. The capillaries are like the foundation of a house. The structure of the vessels, that's what the skin is. Since the structure of the vessels nourishes the order of the skin, every time you wash with hot water, imagine that 10 shovelfuls of soil are being taken from the foundation of your house. We're young. When we're young, we can put back 5 or 6 of them, but as we get older, we can't put that soil back into the foundation anymore. Think of it that way. Every time you wash, the foundation of the house slowly starts to collapse. The foundation of the skin weakens when you wash with hot water.
That's a really bad thing.
So later, when you say you have lines or you wear glasses, I call that the interior decoration of the house. If the foundation isn't solid, if the walls and roof aren't sturdy, then there's no point in having perfect interior decoration in the house. I explain everything to all my clients this way, and they understand it much better.
So, our first topic today is Sagittarius, a winter sign which is prone to dry skin. They must drink at least 2 liters of water a day. The first rule,
It's the simplest thing.
Isn't it? Simple. There's really no need to force it too much. I've heard there's such a thing as water intoxication in the summer.
It depends on water quality, insistence, or finishing too much or too little when you find it. It can cause kidney problems. It has to work too frequently.
For that. So, when water is consumed excessively, it leads to intoxication.
Honestly, I highly recommend water. It really matters.
It feels extremely good and beneficial, even in terms of energy.
Water that is closer to hot than lukewarm. You steep 5 glasses of water with cloves in water that is just a bit warmer than lukewarm. Drinking that not only gives you a great boost of energy, but also makes your skin glow incredibly. The next day, your skin glows amazingly. For example, they can try this. And for those who don't like the taste of water or say they can't drink it, it gives a slightly sweet flavor. You just add 3 cloves. That's it.
We've already gotten an amazing tip.
As long as you want it,
As long as you want it, And let's also include clove-infused water among these rules. But just now, I remember in every episode, look, how many episodes are we filming today? I think it's almost the 5th. I don't want to say something wrong, but it's the 5th. It might be the 5th episode we filmed together. Every time you insistently point out that this applies to all zodiac signs. It should definitely be with warm water or water close to tap temperature.
Sometimes we encounter people. Look, for your body, you can wash with slightly warm water. But since the skin on your face and scalp is already thinner. By the way, it's not just 5 episodes. I've been telling my clients this every day for 15 years. And for my clients, this has become like the first
part. It's become a habit for them. Actually, I guess we should give this a title somewhere, right?
And there's also this. I did it like this in my test. During this process, I divided people into 2 groups, those who listened to me and those who didn't. Today, someone from those groups came in. I've known them for 7 years now recently, on a regular basis. The third, there's been an incredible change in care.
That's very interesting.
Because they've been coming for 7 years and never listen. They don't listen about their water, they don't listen about their vitamins. But they've completed their care.
So, you did a test.
They still come though. I used to say when I told them, they said, I don't want to get old. Yes, I said after 7 years. Yes, we don't want to get old. Yes, I said, let's do something. I mean, what can we do? Now, for example, the thing we did 7 years ago, it's only just now starting to be felt. They said, today really, the fur is really shining. I've been doing it for 7 years. Why?
They noticed it on the 3rd one.
But I guess all of a sudden the skin gets a shock effect in the first applications, you know? Like, you start doing the exact opposite of what you're used to. That is really beneficial, Seden.
But I give it to them like a list, you know, like a checklist. Really do it. Look, after all this time it was done and it turns out to be incredibly beneficial. I don't want money. I don't want anything. Just do it. That's all I ask. Yes, and it makes an incredible difference. When you do these things with skincare, does your skin actually get better? Yes, it does get better. It turns out great. What I'm actually teaching here is the basics, and those who learn the basics can do it.
So, both Sagittarius and Capricorn, which we'll discuss in a moment, actually has the same measurements as Sagittarius. Capricorn.
No matter if they're male or female, whatever you tell a Capricorn, they listen. That's just how they are.
Do they have such a trait because of their idealism?
Is it because of that? They just need to trust and believe in it. Once they trust and believe, they never neglect it. This applies to men as well, without exception.
That's very interesting.
It's really fascinating. You might be wondering, what does astrology have to do with skincare? It's extremely important.
No, it's extremely important. Because zodiac personalities are immediately reflected in their skin as well. So, let's move on to our second zodiac sign right away. Because these two are neighboring signs. And I've been told that both of them are likely to experience dryness in their skin. But I've received this complaint the most from Sagittarius signs. Now, I know that your sign is Capricorn. That's why, since you have years of experience with this, I want to ask you this question first. What is Capricorn skin usually like? For example, what have you observed in the clients who come to you?
Generally, since Capricorns are very self-confident, they also have a very good genetic heritage. That's what I've noticed in most of them. They don't age easily.
Look, this is interesting, but is genetic heritage really that influential in Capricorns?
Absolutely. It's like Capricorns are a group that doesn't age, as if they're in a time machine. That's why the time machine has been found now. They just don't age, man.
They hide away, fix themselves up in the time machine at home, and then go out.
I think so because, as I said, since they're people of duty, they have really good genetics. But they don't just rely on those genes and say, I'll just lie down and do nothing.
They don't say that.
They just keep going like that.
They keep going, you mean?
And as long as they believe in something, they analyze things deeply. They research a lot. But in the end, if they decide, yes, this suits me, they stick with it for many years. They're just a stressful group.
Again, it's clear from here that they're neighbors with Sagittarius. Both are stress, both are winter signs. Yes, Seden, we've listed them for Sagittarius signs. Now let's move on to Capricorn. Actually, you already made a transition that made them a bit happy, the Capricorn signs. I hope so, I'm happy for the Capricorns. By pointing out that it's a sign of duty.
I always say this about Capricorns. Why were we born into this world as Capricorns? Because when you say duty, everything has its own duty. Because we take everything upon ourselves, sometimes we can't get out of it. I can say that these are signs that get extremely overwhelmed. I've been overwhelmed myself.
Dear viewers, Capricorn is the sign of the new year, and because of that, it carries both innovation and old obsessions together. Let me explain it in terms of characteristics. Like Taurus, they don't easily say yes to new things. They need to examine, research, and practice first before they can say yes. Do you experience this? I mean, for example, can someone easily get you to accept something? I think it's difficult, isn't it? Extremely difficult. Extremely difficult.
That's why I actually say so.
This observant nature, idealism, the desire not to waste time on trivial things, and not being fond of adventure, it's not a sign that loves adventure, it's a solid, reliable sign. Cautious. Yes. But see, here comes the cautiousness. There's also a humanistic side. They like helping people a lot. Sometimes subtly, sometimes openly, these signs have an educational, instructive side.
I mean, it's probably sometimes regarded as bossiness by the other side anyway.
I guess.
Actually, that's wrong. As long as that sign doesn't cross the line, I think it's a really nice thing. But when it crosses the line and becomes... when they get into the mood of, I'll show you everything I know best, just like the unstable nature of Gemini can be disturbing to others, there's a high chance this attitude will also bother people on this side.
It bothers them. There's this side and that side. There is.
We're not stingy. I wanted to point that out.
His good qualities. The guy is like this. Suddenly, a loud voice.
To get attention. So people are most surprised when he calms down. He's generous, not stingy. He holds on.
Do they say he's stingy?
Really? Since it's a sign that balances its accounts and expenses, it doesn't do everything impulsively. But rather than being stingy, it's a sign that's extremely generous to those it loves. But generally, when calculating if they're thinking on a higher level, they're labeled as stingy.
It's an idealist sign, right?
I'm an idealist, but I'm not guilty.
The thing I love most about Capricorns, and I've mentioned this on many TV programs, even now since this is our own channel, there's no problem mentioning it here, even if it's a media outlet. Recently on Nota TV, I specifically pointed out these traits, even if I didn't mention names. Dear friends, Capricorns, those with Capricorn rising, or those who, like us, admire Capricorns. My dear Sedens, this is a sign that truly knows the art of making money so well. And you know what? Never
Walks away. Look, what do? Capricorns, you'll agree with me on this. First, it's not about making money. It's about winning people over, accumulating people. First, I am a human being, then I earn. Generally, I earn honest money.
I earn it. Exactly. Am I wrong? No, you're not about this. I also get the reward in the market. Yes, it's an incredible thing. I'm really impressed by these qualities. Besides that, even if someone is their colleague and also their rival, they still try to help that person rise as well. And they guide them, help them out. Do you have this trait too?
Because I've been in business life for so many years and have worked with so many people, yes, I definitely have this trait. Of course, over time, people lost that thing, that sense of trust. Because people didn't trust each other much. We didn't support one another. It's like our whole structure changed. I mean, there was a loss of trust, but I don't know exactly what happened. Lately, it's been extreme. Extremely unhappy.
Now people have changed. Maybe the conditions have gotten tougher.
Maybe the fact that we can access everything so easily has made us a bit... feeling lazy?
Did we stop researching? I'm from the 1970s generation, from the 1970s. I remember when we were little, in our childhood, Gemlik, Bursa Gemlik, is an olive-growing town. They make money from the olive trade or from fishing. But of course, there are businessmen among them who earn more in a boss position. But I'll never forget the rubber shoes we all wore. They would fasten from the side like this, and both the rich and the poor wore the same ones.
In fact, I think class differences really bother people.
That's how it is now.
People get really upset. I mean, I'm working hard, struggling, while someone else is lying there making a lot of money. Clearly, this leads people to laziness. I might also feel the need to make easy money. Truly working and... We've given up on working wholeheartedly.
We've given up. Something happened to us. Something changed in us.
I mean, I guess it's something like this. What we earn while working, the value of money has probably decreased a little more right now. It has lost its worth. You get extremely tired, and on top of that, you have to use your money. But you can't use it. You feel the need to save. The mentality of let it sit aside so nothing bad happens to us has developed. You can't live, you can't travel, you can't do anything. I'm just working and life is passing by.
That's how it is, certainly. My dear friend, of course, let us continue as we were discussing with our topic. This stress and depression are again a problem for Capricorn because there are misconceptions. Exactly. Look, someone who doesn't share their secrets with everyone but listens to the problems of a whole community, of everyone around them.
That's absolutely right.
How does that work?
Because they're so giving, they want to take on other people's problems. Since they're a closed book themselves, they don't open up to everyone because their trust issues are incredibly strong. So what happens then? This time, they take on everyone else's burdens, but don't share anything about themselves. After a certain period of time, they don't turn into a very pleasant person at all. I'm like that.
Something like that. That's the canvas. I observe this myself too. I see this in some Capricorns. Very much so. My dear friend, especially after doing the program with you, I have also become a guy who's interested in skincare. Yes. Even though I've neglected it lately because of the health programs for my eyes, thank you. Because eyes are very important. Important. You shouldn't mess with the area around your eyes during these surgery periods. I've had my surgery. Thank God I'm very happy now. Hopefully, we've overcome the problems. But I've noticed that the moment I stop, skincare is such an ungrateful thing. Why does it immediately go backwards?
I usually give this example. Now I do a thorough cleaning. I think of the people who come to the house like holiday cleaners. I clean every nook and cranny, making it spotless. A holiday cleaning. That's how it stays in people's minds. Now, we feel the need to have the house cleaned because we live in it. But after that holiday cleaning is done, if I say, let me just put my feet up and do nothing, that's where it ends for you. When you say you don't want to do anything after this stage, it all falls apart. That's what happens. When it comes to the groceries bought from Alden, I think of that orangutan in a commercial who makes a mess everywhere. That's what I compare them to. It's all about how much...
of the kind of mess you make, the sort of situation you create.
That's what matters. And then they make a mess of that too. They don't clean up. They only do the holiday cleaning once a year. Why shouldn't it be? That's how I explain it to everyone. I hope it's clear now.
So you're saying we should do it regularly?
Right? Yes. For example, I'm not someone who thinks people should come in for skincare very frequently. When you follow the cleaning routine I do, and the things I recommend in the prescription I give for home care, spacing out the sessions as much as possible, people ask, when should I come back? Each person has a different timing. Some people take good care of themselves, some pay attention to their diet, and some don't. In connection with this, I say that with skincare, either you take good care of yourself and don't mess up your home so you can come in less frequently, or it's the opposite. After, I don't interfere.
I teach. I just give my advice and teach. I list the things that are beneficial for you. What more?
What can I do? Or
are you going to do anything else? Yes, as we said, dear Seden, this is the harsh side of Capricorn, the ambition to work. I've seen in some Capricorns, look, even though you're a skincare specialist, a beauty expert, you are, for example, a Capricorn who actually does skincare regularly. But I've generally seen that male Capricorns tend to neglect it, you know. Is it because they prioritize work, or is it something else?
let me put it this way. Our second most disturbing trait is that, since we're so work-focused, we end up neglecting ourselves. We're in the group that neglects themselves. And not just in terms of serious self-care, but also spiritually. We tend to prefer neglecting everything, pushing things to the second or even third priority. Even when we start to value ourselves and take good care of ourselves, we still end up prioritizing work. That's what sets these apart. So let's separate Capricorns who prioritize themselves from the others then.
All right, let's separate them that way.
Isn't that right? Should I say it like that? But let me put it this way, not just for Capricorns, but for us humans in general. We tend to only do something when it comes down to the very last moment.
We have to do it.
If we take precautions beforehand, I think there won't be problems.
Or maybe we should treat this as a duty, like assigning the skincare routine as a task, because it's the sign of duty.
I write it down on A4 paper, that's how much duty I instill. It's special for all 12 zodiac signs, not just Capricorns. Make it special for all 12 signs.
Only for Capricorns. Let all of them fulfill their duties.
No, actually, I always say try it once, and if you don't see any benefit, just stop. But they always do it because they see the benefit even from the very first time. When they come back later, they have amazingly beautiful skin.
That's when the logical side of the Capricorn woman kicks in after she sees the benefit. So this means it's not a pointless thing to do. They say skincare brings benefits, and that order has become a routine program.
When a skincare routine is done well, some do a thorough holiday-level cleaning, others clean every corner. When this cleaning is really done well, when someone looks at their hands, it's the same. Logically, it's the same. We live, but our organ can't. We eat, we drink. I'm especially saying this for teenagers, whether the food we make is proper or not. I'm talking about junk food. We're experiencing incredible problems with teenagers. It's also related to astrology. When they prepare those foods properly, look, I put my signature under it. I sign each. Their skin looks beautiful after being outside.
But it's really nice. If I have recommendations, it means people have missed it, and I think people are hungry for something nice now.
I wish it were live so we could find questions from the chat and answer them. There are so many things people are curious about.
Now, I'm going to get a promise from you. There's a way to go live, but I can't join the live broadcast, but...
I mean, just so you know, I'm not a Capricorn who oversteps my bounds. If there's something I know, I speak based on my experience. But if I don't know, I'll just say, please, let's do a live broadcast.
Honestly, never...
I know nothing. I'd say, let's continue next live.
By the way, you really don't seem like someone who doesn't know anything. This is what comes out of our conversations with each other. Let it not be something too wonderful. All right. My dear friend, while talking about the main issue for Sagittarius and Capricorn, which is dry skin, this came to my mind. Sometimes in our program, we talk about the winter routine for all zodiac signs in general. Can you tell us what a winter routine is? Is the skincare routine different from the summer routine?
So now the air is getting drier, the weather is getting colder. Now, with the air being dry and cold, our face is constantly exposed outside. The effect of the cold, dry air and the heat of the sun are two different things. If there is humidity outside, products are more in solution form. Sometimes even just sun protection can be enough. They should pay attention to cleansing. In winter, on the contrary, for those who feel drier, so you might think hyaluronic acid is a general acid derivative, but since it's related to moisture, everyone should have hyaluronic acid on hand. They shouldn't bathe with hot water and should drink plenty of water, meaning as much as they need. And also, since we have a bathhouse culture, please don't use a scrub mitt on your face. Even with a scrub mitt, there's a proper dosage. When you rub that hard, it's just like when you wear a stiff shoe and your foot gets calloused, your skin reacts the same way. Even if you use a scrub mitt every day and it seems like you're removing dirt from your skin each time, what's actually happening is that your skin is renewing its cells rapidly, but it gets tired, starts to dry out, and begins to crack. It's the constant acceleration of that cell turnover. And if you do it again the next day, because your skin tries to protect itself, it will again seem like you're removing dirt, just like with those shoes. Think of this as our protective clothing. Do we take off our protective clothing by tearing it off? Or do we remove it properly and put it back in place? When you tear it off, think of it like when we were young and could replace it easily. But as we get older, we can't replace it anymore, right? When our clothes are gone, that's it. There's nothing we can do.
Then there is good too.
Exactly. But I always give examples of such things. That's how it stays in most people's minds. I am one.
I tell you this when you first come. Yes, you are absolutely right. It remains that way, my friend. Well, I've been noticing something in skin specialists lately. Yes, you nourish your skin externally, isn't it? Your skin. So how do we nourish it from within? Do you have any vitamin recommendations for the winter months? For example, what can we do?
Frankly, there are things that I usually tell my clients, but of course in our endocrine.
No, the brand gave it to me.
No, I do not give a brand.
Already. We can explain, but...
First of all, in the summer we tend to eat lighter, while in the winter we eat more fatty foods. Yes. It's about gut cleansing.
See, there you go.
See, it comes from within. When you do a gut cleanse, the weather is already gloomy, and we become incredibly unhappy because we have a certain happiness when the sun is out. Our happiness isn't the same when the sun is gone. When our gut is clean, our body feels lighter and our tension decreases. And it shows on the skin too. Look, we know very well that this reflects on the skin.
We know the gut is already called the second brain.
Absolutely. Now, when you don't treat your second brain well, the first brain is already unhappy, and the second one becomes unhappy too.
So what should you do about that? Is it recommended to take probiotics?
Honestly, let me tell you what I'm doing myself right now.
Okay.
Actually, if you look at it, most people know the properties of thyme. It's a very good anti-inflammatory. It has a property that regulates and soothes the structure of the gut and stomach. Thyme tablet. When you take it after 30 minutes, well, there are conditions for probiotics like this. What we call live bacteria. First you clean the house with thyme. And the probiotics are the ones that arrange the furniture. You can either take probiotics or drink kefir. 30 minutes later I take magnesium.
So,
After time, take probiotics, then 30 minutes later, take magnesium.
got it. With 30-minute intervals.
Exactly. That basically means give it a break. In other words, you're giving what you've done a break so it can recover. If you do everything one after another, like organizing things while you're still cleaning, it doesn't work.
That's actually really interesting.
After magnesium, I have a light protein-rich breakfast, and you know that warm water I mentioned? I tried this routine for a week and lost 2 kilos.
That's great.
Because you're letting your body rest.
You're also giving your body a chance to lose weight.
You're setting up a system where your blood pressure and blood sugar don't drop, and you don't end up attacking food out of hunger. This way, your intestines get cleaned out and your liver relaxes too. And when that's the case, the next thing is, of course, vitamin C.
Is vitamin C used year-round, both in summer and winter?
If you ask me, since it's a water-soluble vitamin, it should be used in cycles of about 3 months at a time, especially during illness season. And since it's something that's quickly eliminated from the body, vitamin C is usually used more intensively during such periods. But it also has the following property as an anti-aging agent: fibroblast. It's like the food, the nourishment for the fibroblast that produces our collagen. When it receives it, it activates the system. Activating the system is actually that simple. In other words, it's something that really needs to be done, and for example, before I recommend it, I try it myself. Of course, our doctors will know better when it should be used and what should be done. That's why, based on my own experience, I will only consult our doctors about how it should be done.
See you in the next episode. Thank you for watching, and as always, take care.